Alright, I am back with a Destiny 2 video. Yes, I am putting Diablo 4 down for, let's say, an hour? I joked that it was going to be 20 minutes. It was more like 45, 50 minutes. That includes really doing everything that's actually new this week at Reset. That includes a new deep dive piece, a new boss, and then you have to actually run another deep dive, which probably takes the longest of anything, but there is some new dialogue as the weeks go on. And then there is some story stuff, and then you gotta like listen to the radio signal, go to the Veil containment, listen to the new message there, and you're done. That's it. That's keeping up with Destiny in a given week on one character, which is fine. I am certainly happy that's how long it takes now, given all the Diablo 4 I have to play, but you know, coming back to Destiny, it was funny. Like, I literally, as soon as I got on, my hands were on 1, 2, 3, 4, the Diablo hotkeys, and I was trying to move with my mouse just instinctively, because I've been playing nothing but Diablo since it came out like 5 days ago, or whatever it is. So it took some readjustment. And this week, I've said I don't really love Season of the Deep that much, but some aspects of it I'm coming around to at least a little bit. Outside of the dungeon. One thing I really do enjoy is when you can actually activate the higher tiers of deep dive. That is actually very fun and challenging. Like they just start spawning loads of yellow bars, and it's this like kind of frantic, chaotic fight in a way, and like they upscale enemies level 2. Like it's a frantic fight in a way that we really just don't see in seasonal activities. Like even legendary seasonal activities, it's not really the same, because I would say most of them aren't even as hard as this, and then also they just stick a bunch of champions in there, and it's not very fun. Here there's no champions, it's just a massive shit ton of enemies, and a bunch of yellow bars that are pretty tanky. The boss fight was probably the easiest part of it. I'm showing some of it here, but the problem with this is that when you're just doing this in matchmaking, you have to find people that A, know how to activate the higher tiers, and B, will actually go and activate the higher tiers, because if one person doesn't do it, you're screwed. So really, if you want to farm it this way, you need to be doing it in like out-of-game LFG with like a modifier that says like, yes, we were doing the higher tiers. I don't know if the higher tiers are like worth it from a loot perspective. At tier 5 loot, it was like, I feel like I got 1 bonus drop, 2 bonus engrams, but I don't know. I don't really know what I was expecting, but I think it can go to tier 6. I believe in the 3rd round of stuff we did, we missed another darkness activator thing. I think there was more than one, but I have to double check on that. This was it's a fun session once they start adding up the buffs and debuffs, like the buffs to the player and the debuffs that you get from the mission itself. So in this case, like they put famine on, which is like the worst modifier, but I got to put a special weapons modifier on that regenerates special ammo for my delicate tomb here, which I've fallen back in love with now that Arc is like the thing to do this season, and is very fun. So those kind of cancel each other out. You have enhanced grenades and then enhanced grenade recharge, which is a fun combo. So stuff like that is fun. I just wish, A, you could consistently get this a little more, and B, it was worth running for more reasons than it was fun. And like once you get to like 3 stages of this, it's a pretty long activity. It's 3 stages of like completing objectives plus the boss. It's all like it's approaching menagerie territory at that point with 3 people. So there's pros and cons here. I just wish maybe the loot aspect was a little different and the activation aspect was different too. So honestly, I think it should almost just be a separate playlist. Like, forget legendary playlists. I don't even know if there is a legendary version of these. I feel like there's not. But just have this be like the hard version of the normal one, and if people want to do the normal, fast, easy one, that's fine. It is a good idea that they do the weekly milestone as just different levels, so you can complete the entire weekly milestone in one run of this, as opposed to running 3 of them now, because they're 3 times as long as they used to be. In terms of actual story stuff, a lot of really good Drifter stuff this week. I was very excited to see him like in the story for this season. There's a lot of conversations between him and Saladin. It was an in-person one, and then there's also the radio message. I guess so. The lore is that Saladin and Drifter are like two of the oldest guardians that exists in terms of like when they were resurrected. Drifter was back around in the Iron Lord days. They talk about how the Drifter used to have a bar at like the base of Felwinter's Peak where he'd like serve Iron Lords and like get like hire them to like do mercenary work for him or something. And like he tries to spin it as like, oh, I was helping them through their problems that you were ignoring or something. I don't really know what he meant by that. There's also a line during this mission where he talks about how he's like joining a cause. I'm not really sure what he meant. Like, is the cause just everyone fighting against the Witness? That's the cause he's talking about, or I'm not sure what else he would mean by that. But he was very funny. Some funny stuff with Sloan in there. I mean, you're flirting a little, but I feel like the Drifter flirts with everybody, and that's not really anything unusual. The Sloan psychic worm messages are getting... I don't know. The worm is talking about the Drifter and not the Drifter, the Traveler and the Witness, how they are two halves of the same whole, and how they're reunited, and it's all very cryptic, and like it's fine. I just don't. We're not really getting any like blinding new revelations, week to week there. We're probably going to get some answers at some point here, and people are suggesting this giant cutscene that is coming that has answers about things. But yeah, so we'll see how many weeks away that is, I guess. And then the last thing to kind of do here was go to Veil Containment and hear the new message where literally you just load into this room and go and hit a button on the computer to play a message, which is better than having us run all the way there again, I guess. And I don't really miss just, here, fight 3 waves of enemies and then listen to them. Like, whatever, it's fine. Just let me listen to the message. This week, I forget this person's name, Chiari or something. I don't know. But it's like Maya Sundaresh's wife, I think. And then, so this week they were talking about the Vex and how the Vex showed up. And the Vex were like attempting to invade Neptune and like go back in time and like reshape Neptune the way they did with Venus. Like that's why there's so much Vex architecture on Venus, because they went back in time and, quote, inserted themselves into the history of the planet. And while they could do that in some places on Neptune, they could not do it around the Veil where Neomuna had its settlement. The idea is the paracausal nature of the Veil, everyone's favorite Destiny word, is disrupting the ability for Vex to time travel. So there's always been lore that the Vex can simulate everything except light, except the Traveler, and that has been like the one limitation for them, and they can't like figure out a way around that. And I guess since the Veil is some sort of part of the Traveler or something, that extends to that as well. She talks about how in response to that, the Vex encased the planet or the city or something in a sim, and that is how they were hidden from the rest of humankind. It was not, they weren't like hiding out necessarily, like they weren't like just trying to ditch us while the collapse happened and all that stuff, or they post-collapse, I don't remember, but they were blocked off from the rest of the world by the Vex, and only a few people knew that place existed because, obviously we have like scanners and things that would probably tell us that there is a giant colony on Neptune, except the Vex were preventing us from learning that, and they were trapping Neomunaites there. So that's a little bit of backstory that I don't think we've heard before, and that's kind of relevant. The Vex are supposedly going to play kind of a large part in the future history of the planet and stuff about the Veil, so I guess we will... I don't know how many weeks of this there are, like, because this isn't tied into like a triumph for the season or anything, and there's not. I don't think there's like a list of how many audio logs there are going to be. So I guess we'll find out. But yeah, I don't know. I'm enjoying listening to these every week. It's something interesting. In terms of playing Destiny from here, yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't. It's like, okay, going back to Destiny and playing like the fun, deep dive mission with all the enemies, that was fun. Destiny is still very fun to play. I don't think Diablo coming out makes Destiny worse. It's just that I would rather play Diablo because it's new, because I have tons and tons of theoretical progress to make on... there's an infinite number of hours in Diablo, so eventually I probably will burn out to a certain extent, but I'm in the end game with my barbarian. Literally only have one character now for the time being. But, you know, there is a ton. I've not cleared the map. I've way, more time to go. I'm level 55 out of 100 for one character. It's a long-term project, so we say. So, well, things might be a little more balanced between Destiny and Diablo once we kind of move on from launch period here. For now, yes, it is heavily skewing toward Diablo, which Blizzard announced is the fastest-selling Blizzard game of all time. That is not... There's no real context for that, because there's no numbers, there's no information on what was previously the fastest-selling game of all time. But as we know, Blizzard has had many, many very popular games over the decades, so that's impressive. Like, it's certainly impressive, and I guess we'll see if we hear some actual numbers later, but I don't think Blizzard really does numbers anymore. Needless to say, it's a big success. I may have something kind of comparing Diablo and Destiny in some ways, because, I mean, they're both live games that require a lot of investment, that are looters. Like, Diablo kind of started everything. Like, Diablo inspired Borderlands, Borderlands inspired other looter shooters, including Destiny, so it's, you know, it's kind of the root of all things, where one frequent thing that's brought up is Diablo 4 just seems a lot more accessible for most people to just jump into it, as opposed to Destiny, and a lot more, new player friendly with onboarding and stuff. And, you know, it's a little apples and oranges because this game just launched and Destiny 2 has been out for 6 years. But there's some interesting comparison points to be made, so maybe I'll do that in either a video or article soon. But anyway, thank you for watching. I need to go grind some Nightmare dungeons, and I will talk to you later. Take care.